Good morning, speedrun fans. Hello to everyone here to see this final of 4 semi-final races here in our Super Metroid 100% tournament. Today we have a treat. We have Zoast and sloaters27 going head-to-head for that final coveted spot in the final 4. We are your comms team. My name is Professor School. I am joined here by Vincent, RTA. Vincent, how you doing? Good morning, sir.
I am good, and I'm really excited about this race. We were talking before we got on the air just about where we are right now. We've got 3 of the top 4 runners in the world already sitting in finals, and here we've got Zoast, who we know is the any percent world record holder, and in the top 3 in every category, every of the 4 major categories of Super Metroid, and Sloaters, who is another incredibly consistent runner with. In the top 10 in this category, in the top 5 in the other categories, just incredibly consistent runners, and I think we're going to be in for a great race today.
Couldn't agree more. An absolute treat. We've got some great racing ahead in store for everyone today. Of course, Zoast and Sloaters, 2 names that are eponymous with everything Super Metroid for now going back many, many years. I think certainly, I think it's fair to say here, Vincent, Zoast is the favorite coming into this race, has returned to 100% recently and blazed some incredible times recently, starting off with a qualifying time for this tournament that put him 4th overall in quals, 1:15:44, but since then has brought his PB down even further and is just on the cusp of becoming the 3rd 1:13 runner. But Sloaters is looking to play spoiler today for sure. What do you think about this matchup, Vincent?
Sloaters, the PB's a couple of minutes behind Zoast, but Zenny was talking about this after his run last night. This is the category, as he put it, it's the death by 1,000 cuts. One little mistake here or there may not seem like a lot, but it will all cost you time. And obviously there's huge mistakes you can make, like falling in the water that can cost you 15 seconds, or your RNG from Fantoon can cost you time. So it's though, yes, Zoast is definitely favored, it's still anybody's game, and it looks like our runners are going.
Yeah, very exciting here. We see our runners making their way down Series Station through this first sort of obligatory part before we get to the main part of the run. Of course, for those who are tuning in to Super Metroid 100% sort of for the first time or are new to the idea, we're going to be collecting 100 items today to get that 100% total collection. And we're going to be looking at a run of probably somewhere, well, normally we say 80 minutes, but with these 2 runners, I think we're going to see something quite a bit better than that. 75 minutes plus or minus a minute or 2 here or there. So we'll see how that goes. And here we start off with our first Ridley encounter of the game.
And while we're going through this obligatory part of the run, don't forget to follow those runners. They have been, every one of the runners in this category have been putting in a ton of time, and we've watched more PBs in the last month than I think probably has ever happened in this category. So give them a follow, and I'm sure they would appreciate it. And if you get a chance, follow my fellow commentator, Professor School. He also runs Super Metroid.
Thank you very much, Vincent. I would say the same goes for you. Vincent's got a fun channel. It's a nice place to hang out. A lot of Final Fantasy VI recently for those interested. So yeah, we give everyone a follow and show some love. Nice series station times posted here, both just around the 46 mark. Very nice series station as we head over to Zebus. And in the meantime, let's just remind you of some of the other action that we've had. This matchup, as we mentioned, between Zoast and Sloaters is for that final spot in the final 4 of this tournament. That'll be a 4-way race for the finals. It'll be really hype. Zenny took on Hodaruby yesterday and managed to secure one of those spots. Behemoth had a win over Mr. Guy Average, and Oats and Goats won a race against a real cutie, rounding out the other 3 spots in that finals. Probably coming to you at some point next week, so keep your eye on that schedule.
Yeah, this is one of those things that this is one of those times in Super Metroid that's going to be amazing because right now we've got 3 of the top 4 runners in the world that are qualified for the finals. No matter what the outcome of this race, we're either going to have the top 4 or 4 of the top 10 runners in the world in this final. So it's going to be outstanding regardless. But now here's one variance in strategy we're going to see is Zoast went for the Moonfall, and Sloaters is a never Moonfall player.
Yeah, that's right. Sloater's playing without Moonwalk equipped. Certainly does over the course of a 75-minute run with multiple opportunities to optimize with Moonfall. Will end up costing, I couldn't tell you the exact number, but at least 10 seconds. But of course, there's plenty of other places in this game of 1,000 cuts, as my co-commentator referred to, where you can bleed that time back or regain it. So Sloater's obviously top 10 in the world in pretty much every single major category in Super Metroid, and able to do that without Moonwalk, so absolutely no problem here whatsoever. There's our first item fanfare of the game. Both of our runners collecting Morph Ball and then following it up with the collection of their first missile pack and making their way back up to the awakened planet.
Only 99 more of those item fanfares to go.
Yeah, so Vincent, you mentioned already 3 of the top 4 runners, specifically in the 100% category here, who have already qualified for this final. Behemoth, Shiny Zenny, and Oats and Goats, who are the 1, 2, and 4 respective time holders right now in the 100% category. Zoast coming in number 3 overall with a 1:14.08, I believe, is the current PB. They're coming so fast that I'm not even sure he's updating them regularly. And of course, Sloaters coming in with the 8th best time. So, those PBs for Sloaters have been coming recently also. I think as early as a week ago, he is PB'd.
Yeah, it's just everyone's been focusing on this event. Technology and strategies for this have been constantly updated, and we're seeing the results of that every single day. I think there's been about a PB, and of the last month, probably a PB in this category every day.
Yeah, it's really incredible to see. I've mentioned this before on cons. I think even you and I have discussed it together. You look at those leaderboards, and 80 or 90% of the times every day that are being posted are 100% times. So it's great to see this tournament invigorating the community and helping further push down 100%. We'll talk about some of the updates that have happened to this run since the tournament started because of the grinding of some of these players. In the meantime, back to the action here. Zoast making it through the BT fight with no problem. Sloaters having a little bit of an issue there, taking some damage, needing to farm some health, but still managing to come out with full health and ammo, that 99 health and the 5 missiles. And now we'll be making his way down to this first energy pack collection that you just saw Zoast collect on the left side of your screen.
That said, we're going to still have both players with really good elevator times here. Both of these, again, these are both just amazing runners. Both pillars of the community too. I mean, that's an important thing to mention about this time is this community. I think is one of the best speedrunning communities around.
Yeah, you'll get no argument from me there, Vincent. The community has been fantastic and open, not just to me, but I've seen to a lot of other folks as well. Great help for new runners on the Discord, in chat, when folks are on stream. It's always really nice to see that. All right, well, our runners here are making their first little sequence break of the game, coming in with this mock ball under those gates in order to get this early super pack that you see sloaters27 now collecting on the right-hand side of your screen. And then they're going to have to execute a reverse mock ball, or at least attempt to save a bunch of time, coming back out of these hidden missile packs behind that early supers, and then can make their way down through their first trip through the rest of Pink Brinstar.
And that first one is fairly easy to get. This one exiting that Zoast is executing now, that one's really tough to get consistently. But Zoast, as he almost always does in this game, makes it look easy.
Yeah, certainly not a trivial mock ball. This reverse mock ball here. Let's see.
And Sloaters nails it too.
Nicely. Yeah, really, really nice stuff. Well, in the meantime here, let's talk about a little bit of route differences that we're going to be seeing. So we'll get to see just in a moment what we mean by this and what these runners are going to be doing. Now, for those of you who have been following the tournament closely, you know that there's this early croc and late croc options that you can select in 100%, but there's a further modification based on that. Sloaters is going to be running a grapple route, getting that early and going down to early croc. Zoast will be running that late croc route, but the interesting divergence, and I'll point it out to you when we get to that point, is Zoast is actually one of the individuals who's going to go up Red Tower and grab power bombs first, and we'll talk about exactly why that is, but just keep your eyes peeled for that in just a moment here.
And there he goes. So, in a lot of the other croc routes, late croc routes, the runners will go down to Norfair first, go collect speed and ice, and then head their way up to Wreck Ship and move on from there. But Zoast comes down and gets these alpha power bombs early. The reason for that, a major reason for that, is that you are, by doing this, you're not required to go back and revisit the Kraid area a second time. You're able to collect the missiles that are hidden in Kraid approach the first time through.
Yeah, and we can talk a little bit about the technical side of getting these power bombs first. It's a fairly complex set of calculations. You really do need to go room by room for the early part of the run until the other sort of more mained late croc route goes ahead and gets the power bombs themselves and see what the benefits are. What it really comes down to, according to Zoast, who's certainly the top runner that's using this route, is a matter of preference and which strats in which variation of the route you feel like you're better able to execute. There are definitely some benefits to going up there in addition to skipping out on a second trip to the warehouse. There's also some really nice door processing time resets that you can use the power bombs for, and some really some cute little farming and door opening strats, which we'll point out to you in just a moment.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about this category is it, you know, even to this day, a game that's been around for 20 plus years, we're still seeing new innovations, new route choices, new technology coming in. I believe Hodarubi even came in with new technology while practicing the last couple weeks. You know, someone who's actually got a name, you know, a strategy in this game named after him. Oh, Zoast misses that quick entrance to Kraid there. That's abnormal for his abilities.
Yeah, about a 2 to 3 second loss there, missing that. A nice quick recovery though. Now flying through warehouse, and you see exactly what we're talking about. Zoast using that air ball to drop that power bombs and access this missile pack that Sloaters will have to come back and pick up after his trip through Meridia. One of those things that you actually just mentioned, Vincent, was some of the new tech that's been established through the length of this tournament. And we're actually going to see, I think, the first example of that, major example of that, demonstrated here just in a moment by Zoast. So Hodarubi actually posted a video to the Discord recently demonstrating a nice standardized way to do a lag reduction here. Let's see if Zoast is going to go for it. He has been going for it in his runs more recently. Yeah, and there you see it. So Zoast balling up, taking damage, and then finding a standardized setup here. That's can save about a second of lag on that Kraid fight, which is a huge amount when we talk about normally trying to save, 5 to 10 frames in a specific room.
Well, and we're seeing runners push the envelope consistently on trying to, and looking at every single room as a challenge and a puzzle itself, and to how can I optimize even just 2-3 frames in every single room, and we're seeing great examples of that, and seeing just watching time just melt away on people's longest times.
Nice looking setup there from Zoast. Gets that nice little quick mock ball, exiting this backside of warehouse and moving on to collect that Kraid E-Tank. One of the other little wrinkles that comes along with getting those early power bombs is that, typically speaking, we'll talk a little bit about energy management. Going into this late Croc route, you are going to be entering the wrecked ship with one less E-Tank, which can pose some problems as far as energy management. When you're going into that Kraid E-Tank room, normally you'd be able to actually not only fill your energy up on that tank and get 20 energy into your reserves from those B-Toms, which is really nice for energy management down the line. But when you have those early power bombs, those B-Toms are only going to drop power bombs. So you take a little bit longer to fill up your reserves, can be a little risky, but for someone of Zoast's caliber, energy management, much less of a concern than for your average runner.
Well, you don't hold multiple world records without having a special level of ability and movement in this game.
There on the left side of your screen, you actually see Zoast laying a power bomb here in the high jump E-Tank room, and that'll be a nice way for saving a little time to open that door, leaving to kill that Sova on the way out.
Yeah, and chat pointed this out. Sloaters just had great movement through Bubble Mountain. Just textbook, getting through, as clean as possible to get through that room.
Oh, very friendly drops there. 2 big health drops from those enemies there right after Cathedral Missiles for Zoast. That'll be a nice addition to his reserves going into Wrecked Ship.
So we're kind of seeing a example of the death by 1,000 cuts, where Zoast has had just a couple of miscues in movement that certainly cost a couple seconds here or there, and that's how this category can eat away at you. And as a runner, the only thing you can do is try to forget those little mistakes or little miscues and try to move on the best you can, and have a very short memory, especially in a category that's this long.
We'll see another example here of the use of power bombs in this early route. Zoast dropping that power bomb to cancel out some of the sounds that need to be processed from the rumbling of that lava in that speed booster room, making that door transition just a little bit faster. Let's see how friendly the farms are here. Looking pretty good, full on supers, almost full on health. We know that he got some friendly drops from some of those upper Norfair enemies, so the reserves are probably looking pretty good. Oh, and that nice swag D-boost, getting through that single chamber room very quickly as Sloaters heads down for his encounter with Croc.
And let's see how friendly Croc is today. Poor guy, just hanging out in his home, just trying to talk, and gets missiled down.
Nice little wall jump off Croc's chest there. Always like to get that one in. Why not, right?
It's all about the swag.
So second set of swipes here. And a third set. Let's see how this goes for Sloaters. Come on, Croc, open up. All right, pretty friendly. 3 swipes, I think. Maybe 4, not so bad. We've seen 6, 8 in this tournament, which can be super frustrating when you're running this early Croc route.
Yep, and now we see that Zoast is not headed down the Croc, but is instead headed now up. And we'll come back and run Croc later in this run.
Yeah, I got a question from chat just confirming that Zoast will run Croc. Near the end of the route, you're coming down there with a full beam combo and a single plasma ice shot will go ahead and take Croc out. A plasma ice wave, I should say, will take Croc out, as opposed to having to deal with all of those swipes.
Yeah, this route has the Croc run and this last cleanup as part of, after all bosses are done, end to cleanup on the way to finishing up Norfair and heading to GT and moving on from there.
And a beautiful set of mock balls there from Zoast. First one, really tight mock ball, tough to get coming out of ice and getting into that tunnel there in that ice gate room, and then a second one in the ice escape. And no sooner had I finished talking about that than Sloaters gets that beautiful speed ball into grapple. So some really nice stuff on display here today from our runners. Go ahead and remember to give them a follow. They're already putting on one heck of a show for us, and we're looking forward to what else they have to provide.
Yeah, just seeing some of the best movement and technology in the game coming from these runners, as expected from two of the better runners, two of the best runners in the community, hands down.
Nicely handled Croc missiles there from Sloaters. Really making short work of that segment. Can be a little bit slower without Spring Ball, which is something that you get later, but doing really nice job there, charging that spark and getting out of here in a hurry. And of course also that really nice grapple farm of those fish coming out. All right, what you're seeing on the right side of your screen here, Sloaters now exiting Norfair. This is actually later on where those routes are going to sync up again, is after the collection of this missile pack and Sloaters opening this screen super missile gate. It'll be quite a while from now, another 50 minutes or so, but we'll see Zoast coming through here at the back end of his run. And this is where we'll see the routes converge again for those who are asking about that.
Oh, and Zoast nails this execution of this trick, which is a total timing execution. You have no visual cues, but doesn't miss this, and that's a huge time save. And that's just, again, one of those. It's the best way to get across moat and the lake all at the same time.
Yeah, beautiful ocean fly there. Really nice stuff. Picking up those spooky missiles, and we'll be making his way down to this Fantoon encounter. We'll see how Fantoon treats Zoast today. Beautiful ledge grabs from Sloaters here in Red Tower, and the down grab at the top, consolidating a gorgeous room. Awesome execution there from Sloaters.
That's just expected from Sloaters in general. His movement is near the tier 1, and you see that consistent in all the categories and where he's been placing.
All right, Fantoon, here we go. Looks like it's going to be a first round slow, Fantoon. Thanks very much, Fantoon. Pretty good looking first Doppler there from Zoast. And getting the second round fast. Fantoon will go off screen here. Let's see. I'm not sure that he got that in. Yep.
Nope, it's going to be a 3-rounder. Exclamation point, thank Fantoon.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there for Zoast, and of course also getting that left side slow pattern, really adding insult to injury for that 3-round Fantoon fight. And you know, if you're Sloaters, you're certainly not hoping anything bad on your opponent, but these are the opportunities that you're going to want to capitalize on to try to close the gap and give yourself the best possible chance to close the gap and pull into a place where maybe you can actually make some noise towards the back end of this run.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, you know, actually, we're also seeing another difference in the routes here where Sloaters is getting these missiles and able to use that grapple to get a remote very efficiently, and now we'll set up and do ocean fly across the rest. But yeah, they're both, you know, they're both running great. But yeah, you're right. The little differences like this, if Sloaters can get in there and hopefully get some positive RNG coming out of Fantoon here and has good execution, can make up anywhere from 15 to 20 seconds at a time.
Oh, Sloater's getting that ledgeless spooky missiles there. It's really tricky and can be a little punishing if you miss it. But managing to get up with that wall jump item check and back down off those spooky missiles without having to land on that upper platform. In the meantime, Zoast, on the left-hand side of your screen, one of the most technically demanding parts of this run is wrecked ship, and just having an absolute clinic put on right now, including that single bomb jump to the wrecked ship energy tank. Beautiful stuff from both of our runners here. Friendly flame patterns there from Fantoon. Sloaters letting Fantoon go off screen. Got what it looked to be a pretty good Doppler in there. We'll see how the second round goes. Hoping not to get that troll right side slow pattern here on this second round. Nope, and there's that mid, the more common of those second round patterns. Sloaters playing it safe, letting Fantoon go off screen, and executing a beautiful 2-round fight. That'll definitely gain him a little bit of time back on Zoast here in wrecked ship. And Sloaters confirming in chat that it came up 1 missile short on the Doppler in the first round, deciding to play it safe. So letting Fantoon go off screen costs a second or two, but allows you to more confidently get in that barrage of missiles for that Doppler.
Zoast is just putting on a clinic and movement in Attic. That's a very difficult room to get through cleanly, and both times through that room just near perfection in movement. It does come out of here and misses this first attempt to get up to sky missiles. Second time around, no problem.
Yeah, a bit of tricky timing there, getting up to those sky missiles, but making short work of it on that second attempt. And getting that nice snipe of that single tile super block in the floor to get those maze missiles. So overall, you know, a hiccup maybe here, getting these sky missiles, but a really, really impressive wrecked ship segment by Zoast as he makes his way into the bowling area. Now, a nice hitbox manipulation there from Sloaters, getting through that spark, moving up through that electric room of death, making short work of this part of wrecked ship and grabbing that energy tank.
Even just the fact that these two runners are able to run this race with this technical difficulty, high levels of technical difficulty, high levels of precision, and still have the time to type into chat. you don't get to this level without being able to multitask well and think ahead. So even that's just an example of how good these runners are.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoast continuing to just lay it on here in Wrecked Ship, getting that beautiful robot flush, using those off-screen shots in bowling to send both of those robots down into those holes, and that power bomb to clear that Chozo statue. Flying through this segment, grabbing gravity, and now moving on to his green and pink Brinstar cleanup.
Zoast got the speedball to break the block down there, but not quite getting in there perfect. That's a very difficult trick to pull off.
Now Zoast going for presumably that bounce ball there over Moat that gets you over very quickly and also fixes that door transition. Coming up just a little bit short, but certainly not anywhere near as bad as missing that jump originally and being forced to fall into the moat, so much larger time loss. Going for a little bit of an energy save here. You can save about 30 energy by climbing to the top of this mountain and landing site instead of sparking all the way up from the ship. And a beautifully executed bounce ball strat across Criteria Power Bomb's room here in these dragons, making his way back over, and we'll see that gauntlet spark from Zoast in just a minute.
This, of course, allowed by being able to take that shot off at the door, which, because of the way the game loads the screens, this door that he's about to fly through is available on the other side, and you can get through and save a ton of time by not having to power bomb through every one of those pillars. And it looks like Zoast executed and will be able to get the back end gauntlet spark. Another huge time save.
Yeah, really nicely done there. Managing to break those blocks with that speed booster and then charge the speed, move through and make short work of the backside of Gauntlet here. Collecting these missiles with some quick drops, no problem at all.
Every time I see one of these runners do the fast drop through the back end of Gauntlet, it always terrifies me because I don't know how many times I've fallen down there, and I've seen some of those runners, have an issue through there at time to time. It's just when they execute it perfect, it's amazing to watch.
All right, and as Zoast makes his way down to this Brinstar cleanup, I'll just point out some questions from chat regarding these runners syncing up. As we pointed out, Sloaters and Zoast running early versus late Croc routes here. But additionally, Zoast has one more missile pack right now than Sloaters because Zoast did do that early power bombs and will not have to make a trip back into Warehouse and Crate's Lair, whereas Sloaters will need to do that. So it's a little bit difficult to really gauge how the runners are up against one another right now. It's going to be quite a bit of time until we really have a sense of any sort of separation between the two runners.
Zoast with textbook movement through the bottom of Edicoons, just great, takes that first damage, boosts the rest of the way through the room as efficient and clean as you can through there. Those were just perfectly executed deboosts. Sloaters is now getting into Gauntlet with that same spark. Again, just great execution. Looks like Sloaters does not go for that back-end gauntlet spark plan. That can be, it's not something you're used to or difficult with. It can, it can make, it's something even if you've practiced, unless you're super comfortable with it, you can lose some time there. Ooh, Sloaters with a huge save through that back-end gauntlet missiles. I am so glad I did not commentator curse someone. Ooh.
Just don't panic. Don't panic, and you'll be okay. It's difficult in a race setting, but yeah, we're very glad to not see Sloaters have to make a second trip through Gauntlet for sure.
There's nothing worse than that, and the not getting that, dropping down in the Golden Teresa room. Oh, that's another awful time save moment. Those are okay. Now we see Zoast pick up those charge missiles that are purposely avoided the first time around because we've got to lay this power bomb, and we're able to avoid a little bit of lag and time and save a couple of seconds by waiting for those the second time around.
Nicely executed damage boosts there. That can be a tricky room, that pre-Edekun's B-Tom room there. Easy to have things go just a little bit sideways, no problem at all for Sloaters. Beautiful wall jumps up to this power bomb pack, and now we'll be making his way towards the same section that we see Zoast in now. Both of our runners will be in Meridia before too long.
Well, and what we're seeing there, when Sloaters fell through the missiles in the back end of Gauntlet, these runners, they've had all the worst things possible happen during the runs at some point. Maybe not all of them, because not all of them have probably been chain damage on Mother Brain 1, but these great runners, the reason they are where they are is they know that if something goes wrong, they can have an immediate backup strat. Or they can perfectly execute something like Blockbuster, like Zoast just did, on the first try.
Absolutely. Although if you take Sloaters at his word, this that trip through Gauntlet was actually just part of his TaskBot script.
Someone even said it in chat. This is just, this is Sloaters, where he's able to run this, this extremely high-level run, great performance, and still able to, make jokes in chat.
Yeah, nicely executed Mission Impossible, and now coming back into this Wavegate E-Tank room. In the meantime, Zoast making quick work of this start to Meridia. Beautiful stutter 3-tap for those Main Street missiles, and with that big full jump lining up that spark and ensuring no issue whatsoever with a bonk.
This has been an absolute treat so far, watching these two just extremely high-level runners hit so many of these difficult strats. Watching the perfection of movement, Sloaters getting this speedball out of there. These are the high-level tricks, and we're watching these two just execute with amazing perfection today. And just this is the reason why they're two of the top runners in Super Metroid altogether, even outside of this category, in and outside of this category.
All right, we're Sloaters picking up this waterway E-Tank. We'll be charging a Shine Spark and going diagonally back up through this room now. And then we'll have one last item to collect before entering Meridia. In the meanwhile, Zoast going back up through this beach section. Beautiful damage boost there, and we'll be collecting a couple of missile and super packs here. We'll remind folks this is the last of our 4 semifinal races. We already have 3 of our 4 entrants qualifying for that final 4 race. We have Oats and Goats, Shiny Zenny, and the current world record holder, Behemoth, who will be there, and Zoast or Sloaters will be trying to join them for that last coveted spot in the finals. Really looking forward to that race. And not to be outdone, Sloaters following up with his own blockbuster strat, really nicely done. 2 blockbusters in one place, you don't see that anymore. I think there's only 1 left in the country right now, down in Oregon. So to see 2 blockbusters at once, I'll tell you what, that's a sight to behold. Pretty rare.
Nice, Professor. That's a great reference there.
I went and saw it with my own eyes. It definitely exists. And I'll tell you what, there's more people taking photos in front of that store than there are actually people going inside to rent videos, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, sometimes, holding on to epic things is what you do. Example, Sloaters is still that never moonfall player. Zoast with a great first round botch wound there. Hits that X Factor strat.
Yeah, and we'll see Sloaters executing a slightly different version of the Mama Turtle E-Tank, opting to go for those missiles tucked away in the wall first, and just a beautiful grapple strat there. Swinging around off that grapple block, grabbing that Mama Turtle E-Tank, and heading out there without getting Mama upset about what's going on to her little turtle babies there.
See, and that's just even Sloaters' movement through the last 2 rooms just shows you can, this category and just the game in general, you can choose your own strats and choose your own way of going through things and still be one of the top runners. You don't have to follow an exact mold, an exact copy.
Yeah, as with most categories in Super Metroid, it really is sort of a choose-your-own-adventure. A lot of different ways to go about this, and Zoast, he always does this in his runs. Nice little bit of flexing here is that beautiful short charge into that little blue keep. I always love seeing that. See how this Dragon fight goes for Zoast. Looked like a pretty reasonable setup, using those ballistics here. And not getting the best pattern from Dragon, but still getting that blue suit. And now we'll see how this spike suit attempt goes for Zoast. It's a double frame perfect trick here to try to permanently store a Shine Spark for use later. And sure enough, there it is.
Gets it on that last try, or right before time is about to run out on getting that. And that was clutch, as Chad has pointed out.
Yeah, just took a few extra frames there because of the extra attempt that he needed, but it will make the backside of this exit from Dragon a little bit faster. Blue suit, obviously you cannot hit that dash button or you will use up your blue suit, but with the spike suit you can have that dash button depressed. So we'll see Zoast come to the top of this Coliseum and spark back across, and then make his way down for this East and West Sandpit item collection.
Yep, and that, on the way there, that's the full halfie, that's the reverse full halfie. That's a huge time save, and why you definitely want to get that, save that spike suit coming out of Dragon there. And that's something we're going to see later in this run as well. And Zoast, meanwhile, hits a blockbuster exiting that room to break through those blocks. Just a time save for sure, and something that, if something goes wrong there and you break that early, you could potentially soft lock, but Zoast nails it and continues on this run as we see Sloaters start their bot wound fight and textbook done, ready to move on.
Yeah, a beautiful fight there for sure. A little bit of a hiccup coming into that room. Sloaters missing the first short charge to break the speed blocks in the that Batoon hallway, and then having a little bit of an issue with the speed entry into that door, but absolutely making up for it with that beautiful Batoon fight, I should say, and then consolidating it with this really nice full halfie here.
Zoast nails that iced clip to get back here to Shack Tool. That's a strategy that if you are not comfortable with, this route does not work for you, because grapple's the only other way to get back here. But if you can execute that ice clip as well as he does, this is, in every way, you should probably consider late croc. And this is kind of a chance for a runner along this to kind of get a mental recharge and get ready. But as we're going to likely see Zoast do here, towards the end of this, there's a slight optimization. You can let Shack Tool break all the blocks, but as he just did, you shoot and you aggro that creature, and he comes in and breaks some of the sand, so you're able to get out of there a little bit quicker.
Nice setup there on that first X Factor for Sloaters on the Draygun fight, using those ballistics, getting that blue suit, and now going for that spike suit. First try, no problem whatsoever. Really nice.
Sloaters making it look easy.
Yeah, and getting it on the first try there, and not needing to farm anything here from Dragon. Sloaters able to leave that room really quickly. That was probably a 42, 43 second room. Really, really fast stuff for Sloaters, making his way out for his reverse spark over Coliseum.
Sloaters just seems to be on fire today. Both in game and in chat.
And chat correctly pointing out an absolutely beautiful Meridia being pulled off here by Sloaters. If we were on comms yesterday, I think we'd have to call it unbelievable.
Yes, yesterday's comms and race was completely unbelievable.
Of course, we're making reference to that incredible Shiny Zenny versus Hoda Ruby matchup, one of our other semifinals here. Our comms team doing a great job yesterday. We're just having a little bit of fun, that's all, folks. All right, well, we were talking about some of the contributions that Hoda Ruby had made, and some of the really great modifications to the different rooms in this game. This exact strat that Zoast is pulling off here in the Plasma Room, it's not exactly what Hoda Ruby had come up with, but he was, as far as I'm aware, the first to really show a reimagining of that room, which had been run more or less the same way in this category for quite some time. And then C. Scotty W. and Zenny and a few other folks really put their heads together, came up with a couple different ideas. And what you saw Zoast do there was a really fast, for sure, sub 10-second room, one of the major updates that has occurred as a result of this 100% tournament, getting people's brains going. So awesome, awesome stuff to see that tech modification as these times continue to get pushed down further by humans.
Well, and some of that, again, that goes back to innovators like someone like Hoda Ruby, who, last night seeing him run the races, I didn't get to watch any of the earlier runs for him, but seeing a titan and a legend of the game run like that was outstanding. It was unbelievable. And now here today we've got two of the current pillars, but to know that Hoda Ruby's back and coming up with new technology, it says something again about how amazing this game is, that here we are 20 plus years in, and it's still not solved. There's still more things to find, more frames to save.
Yeah, that's right, Vincent. I think that's especially true for the 100% item collection category. It's such a long run. There's so many rooms, upwards of 370, depending on precisely the route you're taking. And it's easy to survive, often said, but very, very difficult to optimize. And we're still seeing that, as you correctly point out. And why not? These runners not only blazing fast times, but able to pop into chat, as we've seen several times from both racers. Zoast indicating that he did, in fact, have some hiccups there in that plasma room strat that I was describing. You'll have to just forgive your commentator. That is not one of the new pieces of tech that I personally have picked up. So I maybe don't have quite the best eye for spotting all the errors in that case. But definitely got to do a little bit more homework for that room. And there you go, you see Zoast not needing to make a return trip to the warehouse because he had already grabbed that missile pack, and now able to make the trip down into Norfair and go towards that Croc Speedway, moving into Lower Norfair. By the way, folks, if we were just talking about how fast things were going for Sloaters, took a quick look at the stream. Looks like Sloaters golded each of the last 2 splits, so really incredible stuff. Confirming what we thought we had already been seeing. We've got quite a good race on our hands here.
Just to mention something about the community again, this is, you've got these 2 runners in here. I saw Behemoth was in here commenting earlier. Zenny was in here earlier. They're all just fans of this category and a great community in general. And even before the race, when Sloaters was practicing, one of the runners was in there helping him work through a very difficult strat. So it's just the way the community is. They care about the quality of the game and that people are getting better and even really helping each other find better ways to run.
It's tough to say exactly here. I'd say Sloaters probably pretty close, if not just slightly behind PB pace, cleaning up these last few items in Meridia. Zoast, I think a 49 elevator time is pretty close here in Lower Norfair to his PB, so maybe also 20-30 seconds behind PB pace or so, if I'd have to estimate. But really blazing fast stuff from both of these runners.
Well, and of course, race times are very, it's a little bit difficult to hit a PB in a race, though it definitely does happen from time to time. In fact, Hodarubi last night had a overall PB in race, but partially because during a race you're being very careful about making sure you don't die, maybe sometimes taking safer strats. Versus a PB where you can reset and it's not an issue.
Bit unfortunate there for Zoast. Had a bit of trouble with the GT fight. Normally you try to pin GT up into that corner. Having an issue freezing him in that spot, Zoast needing to sort of retreat and then force GT back, costing a couple seconds there, but cleaning it up nicely and now gathering that screw attack item to really make the movement through the remainder of Lower Norfair quite a bit more trivial than it would be otherwise. All right, Sloaters making his way out of that second trip into the warehouse. Now has that missile pack that Zoast got very early on, getting just a little bit closer to these 2 routes syncing up. Not quite, of course, still have all of Lower Norfair, but just a little bit closer. Zoast will be dropping a power bomb here and using that to help some of the processing time on this door going into this Key Hunter shaft. Beautiful execution here, taking out all 3 of these key hunters so that the next power bomb will be significantly reduced in the amount of lag that it generates as Zoast makes his way down into the wasteland.
All about speedrunning in general is all about saving every frame possible, and these runners are looking at every opportunity to save even half a second here, because it can make, again, across the run that's an hour 15 some long, every single second and a half second makes a huge difference.
That's right. Really nice double KO there for Zoast, exiting Wasteland, going for this fast Metal Pirates, activating both of them just one after another. No problem at all, and a beautiful screw attack, and looks like going for the spring ball exit. Nicely done, all the way over and entering for the Ridley fight. Let's see how Ridley treats Zoast today. Very, very healthy super count for Zoast. I do expect to be seeing some ballistics used in this fight to speed it up and increase that DPS.
Meanwhile, Sloaters just came down near Krog, held the speed through that jump, and is just, movement is on a mission right now. Playing at an incredibly high level today.
Yeah, both of our runners doing an absolutely wonderful job tackling this 100% category. Remember to go ahead and give each of them a follow if you do not already. In the meantime, Zoast smoking that Space Pirate Ridley, using a combination of plasma and supers as predicted, still leaving with a very healthy super count, should be fine going towards the backside of this run, and really blazing incredible time, while Sloaters will make his way over to his GT fight. Nice little spring ball tech here. As I like to always say about spring ball, it is poetry in motion when it comes to Super Metroid. Just some of the wonderful things that you can do with this full item set at your disposal here in the 100% category that you don't get to see in a lot of other places.
It definitely leads for some of the most fun strats you can pull off. The addition in movement, and then of course the spring ball baby skip. That's kind of a heightened level, extremely difficult trick to pull off if you can do it. But one of those things you don't see outside of this category, or very rarely outside of this category. Sloaters gets a solid GT fight. That, of course, is going to make some difference and save some time. Zoast goes for that Hodarubi special up at the top, a name made for legendary runner, but fortunately missing it just a little bit. It's actually the same way that Hodarubi hit it last night. Just missing that missile on the way up.
All right, well, Zoast making his way out of Lower Norfair for the last time. What do you think about the race so far, Vincent? how are you liking this?
I mean, we're seeing a clinic of movement from these two. Although we've seen some miscues come out of Zoast, so I think it's there's definitely a chance for Sloaters to get there and capitalize on mistakes. But now we're getting towards this back half. Zoast is now going to go down and clean up Croc, where Sloaters is already taking care of that. We'll see how well Sloaters gets through this Ridley fight. Zoast had a solid Ridley fight, but we're seeing outstanding running from these two, which I expected, but I think we're seeing about as good as we could hope. The Sloaters does have a little bit slower Metal Pirates fight down there, but still gets through clean and holds that speed all the way down to this entrance for Ridley, and now we'll have their Ridley fight. We did have a question in chat about when will these runs converge. Since they were on the separate routes, when we see both runners hit the elevator to leave Norfair, we will know where we are on timing.
Nicely executed beam fight there for Sloaters, while Zoast goes ahead and wraps up Croc. As you see, just a single fully charged beam combo there, and Croc is no more. No problem whatsoever for Zoast. Yeah, Vincent, you're right. We'll be seeing these runners converge just shortly here. Zoast's going to have to clean up these Croc items, whereas Sloaters is going to be able to make his way completely out, having already done that. I would say right now, hard to know for sure, but if I'd have to guess, I'd say that the runners are probably separated by somewhere between 40 and 60 seconds, tipping the hat to Zoast. Of course, getting that spike suit there that Zoast just got, you see on the left-hand side of your screen, is definitely going to help, but that's a 5 to 6 second time save coming ahead in the X-ray section.
Yes, and that's something that now that he's got that, the movement through here has to be very precise when you are carrying one of these suits, because if you trigger it just wrong, you're going to trigger the suit to Shine Spark early, and going to lose all the advantage of setting up for that, which means you have to not anything that would trigger a Shine Spark would trigger the suit. So you just got to be really careful through movement here. Sloaters does get this this deboost back onto the frozen Fire Flea, a time save coming out of that E-Tank collection. Sloaters gets part of the Hotarubi special, and looks like it was just like, hey, you know what? I'm this far. I'm gonna probably come back and get those missiles on the way up. Someone just referred to it as the Skipper Ruby.
Yeah, I haven't ever tried it out myself. Haven't seen it, but I imagine that getting that optimal speedball there to break both of those blocks, and then coming back around to get the missiles probably ends up costing you time. I'm not sure exactly how much, but who knows? Maybe it gets close to breaking even if you've broken both of those blocks rather than having to turn back around from that maze. Yeah, the sloaters special. Chat having a little bit of fun. This is great.
I gotta say, of all the races and just things in general, this has been, chat has been extremely active today. That of course makes things a lot better for us on comms, and seeing the runners active in it. This has just been this has been a great race so far. Watching both of these runners execute. Now we are going to see Zoast hop on that elevator at 102.10, so we can check out where we're looking at a difference in time. And there we see Zoast, who successfully held onto that saved spike suit that whole time, gets to fly right across this collection room. A huge time save. I think Zenny said somewhere around a 10-second time save. And that's obviously a massive, massive advantage of being able to hold on to that suit. Now we see Sloaters is hitting the elevator at 103.34, so about a minute 24 difference between these two runners.
Yeah, I'd say Sloaters is having just an absolutely fantastic race here, closing the gap considerably over the spacing in these two runners' personal bests. Sloaters looking like just a little bit ahead of PB pace right now after running off what seems like 3 or 4 consecutive gold splits. Just really, really incredible stuff. Of course, a tall order facing one of the best in the world and a 114 cusp 113 time holder here in Zoast.
Yeah, I would agree with chat. This is just really high level of play from both these players. We're watching just excellence and execution in a lot of ways. We're seeing Sloaters having a great run today. Zoast is, because of the consistency, being one of the top runners and one of the tier 1 runners. I think you and I talked about it earlier. Zoast might be. It's hard to argue that he's not necessarily or not the best in the world right now, and it's really just watching him run is a treat. But Sloaters today is just seems like having a absolute best run that they've had in this category.
Meanwhile,
this is what I saw Sloaters working on earlier today. Hopefully they can nail this trick. Trying to go for this.
Yeah, let's see. Ugh. Very close, very close.
Yeah, trying that reverse slinky, that's very difficult. But now we see Zoast gets this saved Shine Spark, hits this elevator. The elevator does not take away from the timer, so you can use this to Shine Spark back across the Mother Brain room. Getting these missiles now will collect the Climb Supers and pick up 230 missiles, and Zoast will be on the way to Turian for the end of this run.
Beautiful Climb Supers execution from Zoast. Just one final item to collect here before making his way over to G4 in the last 7 minutes or so of this game in Turian. Meanwhile, Sloaters finding out that there's more than just meets the eye in this Billy Mays room.
A cultural reference that is going to have to live on through YouTube. Oh, I love that there is a Billy Mays emote out there. That's one I'm gonna have to subscribe to that channel just to get that emote.
Zoast putting comms out of business here. I don't even need to talk about any of these strats or try to answer questions. Zoast and Sloaters have this taken care of. They're doing our job for us here. It's incredible stuff, isn't it, Vincent?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and, it helps when you got that little bit of break here in G4, and you can, take your time, and Zoast is now getting ready for the end of this run. And we see it's a 107.45 entry into G4. So now that's one of those marks we can look at and see what our difference in time is between these two going into Turian. Of course, this is still not over. We have seen runs end during this time. We've seen a soft lock on Mother Brain. We've seen chain damage on Mother Brain. We've seen some things happen that you just don't expect.
Of course, if things do go to plan with that 107.45 entry or so, and somewhere between 6.5 and 7 minutes for Turian, we might actually be seeing the potential for 114 pace here for Zoast. We'll see. That would certainly be one of the top times posted in any of the races so far in this tournament. Meanwhile, Sloaters collecting that final item and will be making his way over to G4. We'll get our last little time check here for both of these runners before they wrap up this run.
Yeah, so far in this, we have seen 4 different times of 4 different 114 runs. 2 coming from Behemoth, 1 from Zoast, and 1 from Shiny Zenny.
It looks like the gap is still just about 1.5 minutes, maybe slightly more than that at G4. But really incredible stuff here from both of our runners. Please remember to go ahead and shoot both of them a follow if you have not already. No problem on the baby skip from Zoast. I think all but ensuring a 114 at this point, not having to sit through the massive amount of damage drained from the baby here in this 100% with all of those E-tanks.
Zoast opts for that spring ball Zebetite skip through the second post. That allows you to not have to turn anything off, and just pulls it off with great execution.
Both of these runners just scorching Turian right now. Really, really nice stuff. Sloaters only missing on that spring ball exit from Metroid Room 3, but just absolutely beautiful work from both of these runners taking care of those Metroid rooms. And Sloaters still with great super missile count that will really speed up that Mother Brain fight.
Alright, now Sloaters, when we see Zoast is finishing up these 20 charge shots on Mother Brain, gets that catch-up beam, and now will be damaging down to set up for stand-up glitch, as Sloaters is going for baby skip. Looks like gets through clear and does not get caught up. Excellent, we see normal movement, so Sloaters is now headed down to Turian. And we're going to see Mother Brain on 2 screens, which hasn't happened a ton in this tournament. Sloaters also getting that spring ball Zebetite skip, now on to first phase of Mother Brain. see Zoast is continuing these shots through the stand-up glitch, which of course is a huge time save because you can damage Mother Brain in this time that otherwise you couldn't, and lets you execute through. The problem is you have to make sure you're in the air at the right times, or you can have a little bit of a lock here. But looks like executing that great. Finishes off this last phase of Mother Brain, as Sloaters is now starting the Rainbow Beam, and looks like Zoast is gonna. Zoast is on. Looks like still 114 might be possible.
Yeah, comfortably here, I would say. All right, just the escape sequence left for Zoast. I love that strat that he pulls off there. That morph up and unmorph right before the door, allowing to completely miss any of those platforms in that second escape room. And following it up with that blue bomber strat.
Just nails it. Again, amazing execution. Gonna hit this moonfall here. Another time save and advantage of running that moonfall. Gonna go ahead and get to the climb room for the last time. Seeing this happening in this Behe Spark up through climb. And look like we're gonna have about a mid 114 time.
Yeah, it should be really close to a time that actually Behe and Zoast both already posted at a 1:14:35. Of course, chat pointing out correctly that the top time in the races so far in this tournament, a 1:14:10. Yeah, and just a second under that, there you go. Zoast finishing with a first place SRL official race time of 1:14:34.
Wow, just like watching it's actual world class level execution there from Zoast. Congrats to him on just an outstanding race run today. And now we're watching Sloaters exit here, and looks like we're now on that same escape. If we want to switch over to audio there.
Yeah, and Sloaters coming in with a PB here of, I believe, 1:16:25. So I think that we are going to see a PB from Sloaters. Vincent, we've been very fortunate, both you and I together on comms and in this tournament in general, to see players that are racing from an underdog position. They're not at all put off by the moment, and so often in this tournament we've seen that player come through with their own PB, which is really, really great to see.
Well, even in our last run, we had Zenny, who had a race PB, and Zeb316, who had an overall PB during that run. I think part of it is the Sloaters knows he's an underdog coming in and can just let go and run their own race and just have an outstanding run today. Finishing with Sloaters finishing with an official SRL time of 1:16:12.
Yeah, GG to both runners here. Really, really nice stuff. Blazing fast times for both of them, and looks like indeed a personal best here for Sloaters. Really great stuff to both of our runners.
You and I have been the opposite of the commentator curse here. We have been the commentator blessing. We've seen so many PBs covering these races together. It's amazing. We're seeing Zoast hit one of the second best time in the race yet, and seeing Sloaters hit a 13.8 second PB. Just wow, just great execution in both these races, especially these last two races that we've covered. We're very much seeing why these runners are at the top of the Super Metroid, all the Super Metroid categories.
Yeah, in particular, in a race situation, you're in a semifinals, you're playing for a spot in that finals, and to still be able to come through with a PB, that's just super incredible stuff from Sloaters here, and of course to Zoast who came in with that first place time. Looks like we're going to have our runners joining us here on comms. We've got sloaters27 live on air with us. Sloaters GG, can you confirm, was that a PB for you?
Thank you. That indeed was a 13 or 14 second PB.
Holy smokes, GG, really, really nice stuff. How do you feel about the race today?
Honestly, like it feels great. I had no idea how I was going to top the last one with Aussie, you know, getting a PB in that race. And I guess the only way to really raise the bar was to PB again. So I'm super glad it happened.
No, I think I asked this of we thought about this last time. Going into this race, knowing that you're the underdog against Zoast, did that let you kind of approach this race being a little bit more free, just knowing that you're really just running against, for you it's running against your own time and hoping you can do your best and seeing how things turn out? Or was this something, or did you feel the pressure of the race run coming in?
I would definitely say there's a lot less pressure when, you're up against one of the Zoasts or Behemoths or Zennies, and you know that, realistically they need to have something really bad happen if you're going to pull ahead and get a win on them. So yeah, in that sense, it definitely does alleviate the nerves a little bit. I certainly, didn't expect a win, so I really just wanted to put on my best performance and, not fall behind too far.
I would say you certainly did that, because we and on comms and this chat and everyone that got to watch you today and everyone that watches the video is just going to see an absolute treat of watching the two of you run this today. Like your movement through Meridia today was pretty inspiring. How many gold splits did you have today? Because it seemed like you were just on fire especially through Meridia.
Yeah, I had 3 golds in a row at Waterway, Spring Ball, and Mickey Mouse. So pretty much that entire Meridia section was, like the best I've ever done.
Holy smokes. And to string it all together like that and in a race, that's incredible stuff, Sloaters.
Yeah, thanks. I was a little worried at the early game. I had like a 620 elevator, which was like super bad for me. I was like plus 16 at grapple or something. So I was like, man, this is kind of a shaky start, but yeah, the super good mid game for me just pulled it back completely, which was awesome.
Well, I'm sure that's go. Sorry, Prof. Go ahead.
No, of course. I think seeing how incredible this run was, I mean, obviously disappointing to not get a win. I know that we talked before your previous race that certainly was not the goal coming in here. But now that we have our finals set up with Zoast rounding that out, I'd be very curious. Sloaters, could you give us your perspective on that Final Four matchup? What do you think about Zoast, Zenny, Oats, and Behemoth, the top 400% times in the world, all squaring up 1v1v1 in this finals matchup?
Well, I'll say probably, I think similar to what Zenny said last night. I think all of them really have a shot at winning it. Hundo, there's just so many places where you can lose frames or, half a second or a second here or there. And there's also a lot of, big areas where you can lose huge chunks of time. If you miss like the spike suit, that's 5 seconds. If you miss baby skip, that's 20 or whatever. And all these guys, they're so good and they're so consistent and able to put up like, 114s on the regular pretty much. If I had to pick one person, I would say Behemoth. He is the world record holder. He is usually regarded as the most consistent. He's definitely put in a ton of time in the category. But honestly, it's not a super strong favorite for me. I think really any of them could do it. It just, depends who's playing hot that day.
I'd agree, and I'd agree in your prediction because he is the most consistent. But looking at these 4 runners that are going to be in this finals, Behemoth's 87, Shiny Zenny, Zoast, Oats and Goats, all 4 of them are the runners who have hit that 114 and below barrier in this category, which is insane. And less than a minute, or just over a minute right now in PBs in difference. So it's, it is going to be anyone's race. I'm looking forward to seeing this one for sure. This is, I think this is going to be I think coming in, this is what everyone expected. But again, as we saw a few times in this category, weird things can happen, and the person who's favored, something could happen. Behemoth could get really bad Fantoon RNG, and or some other things just happen, and we could see Zenny or Zoast take the lead. It really just depends.
Sloaters, let me ask you one final question before we let you go. Thank you so much for coming with us on comms. You gave us a prediction already. If you had to say, what is the approach for these runners if you were in that situation, knowing the times that these runners all have? Are they going all out, or are people trying to get low 114? What do you think we're going to see strategically as far as how these runners are going to try to execute?
Well, I guess this is sort of my personal opinion from pretty much every race I do, whether I'm, it's the early rounds, I'm facing an opponent where I'm heavily favored, or I'm up against people, equal to my skill level. I always want to go all out. I think it's just respectful to do that, to do the best you can, put your best foot forward, and, go for all the strats you normally go for. Of course, there's safety saves and stuff like that when you need to do them. But if it were me up there, I would be going all out, as much risk as reasonably possible for a race setting, and just trying to put on the best show that I can.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first, folks. We're going to have an all-out war between these four runners. Sloaters, thank you so much for coming on and giving your insights here on comms. Thank you for entertaining us all tournament long, and congratulations on yet another race PB and a true PB here in the context of this tournament. Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you guys for doing the commentary. I want to say, too, because this will probably be the last time I'm on the mic for, one of these tournament things. Shout outs to all the commentators, you two, and especially a lot of other people I won't name right now, but there's been a lot of sort of fresh blood that have come on the commentary for this tournament and have been handling a lot of the matches and getting the crews together. Fortunately, we have SpeedGaming, having their channels available and having restreams and volunteers on their end, but also the commentaries on our side. It's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time for people to come into a hundo match for over an hour and talk for a while. So thank you guys and everyone else who has really been stepping up. We really appreciate it on the organizer side.
Thanks, Sloaters.
I know I can speak for not only myself but everyone who's done commentary in this, but really it's been our pleasure. We've seen so much great racing, seen great runs like yours today, and just it's been outstanding. And again, in the words of Hockey Towner and from last night's coverage, it's been unbelievable all tournament long, and really our pleasure.
All right, well, with that and seeing the 100% item collection confirmed for both of our runners, we now have our final four, folks. We have Zoast, Shiny Zenny, Oats and Goats, and Behemoth, the current world record holder. Those four will duke it out at some point in the next few days. Keep your eye on the schedule. We expect the next week or so to know exactly when that will be. Thank you to chat for being incredibly entertaining today and helping us along. Thank you to both of our runners. Please remember to go ahead and give them a follow if you have not already. And very personal thanks to my co-commentator now of three, I think, different matches in this tournament. Vincent, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much. Why don't you go ahead and take us home?
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure too, working with you, Professor School, on these. And I've got to give my shout out to Palmy Gamer for the very first commentary I did. This was my first time around doing this. And I feel like it's just been, it's to me, watching this community the way it is, it's been refreshing. Coming from another gaming community where people aren't necessarily as cooperative, the Super Metroid community is just, it's amazing. And, and the comms from everyone have been great. This has been a great tournament so far. The best is yet to come, guys. As good as this has been, when we will get to watch those four runners run against each other in that final, I cannot wait. I don't know who's going to be on comms for that. That's something that, we don't have a time set for this race, but can't wait to see this finals. Can't wait to see this tournament play out. Obviously, a huge prize pool involved at $2,200, $2,250. Also, one more chance before we get to that. Thank you for everyone who donated to this tournament to help make this happen, to help make that prize pool there, and for those final 4 runners. And thanks for everyone for coming out and checking out this tournament today. Thank you, chat, for being amazing today. And these 2 runners for jumping in and commenting as well in chat. It's been again, I'll use this word just for the Hockey Towner one more time. It has been unbelievable. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.
See you next mission. Take care, folks.